easy, 1, 2, 3. For those of you who are plugging in like this and jumping on these huddles and learning all of the things, I'm so proud of y'all's engagement and just showing up as learning-based humans. I just absolutely love it. Well, we are going to start, though, with mindset. It is actually the 7th step in Take the Stairs, which is the last chapter. So we're actually all the way through this book, which I'm a little sad because I've enjoyed it. I would take another week of this. But Rory Vaden, Take the Stairs, he gave us 7 steps to achieving success. We talked about sacrifice, the paradox principle, commitment, the buy-in principle. What skin do you have in the game? Focus, the magnification principle, integrity, the creation principle, the power of your words, schedule, the harvest principle, faith, the perspective principle. And today we're going to talk about action, the pendulum principle. So all of this that we have talked about in this book, frankly, most of what we talk about on huddles in the morning, most of what you read in books or attend in classes or hear at conventions is only as good as the action that you take. How many of us go to a class, we have an aha, we sit on huddle and go, oh, that's me. That's me. If I did that, that would absolutely be a catalyst. And then we actually do zippo, zero, nothing, absolutely no action about it. So the truth is that action actually shows us what we truly believe. So it starts with mindset. Because when we change the way we think, we change the way we feel, which then in turn changes our actions. So if we think we believe something, and yet we don't act congruent to that, I would go back and ask, do we really believe it to be true? Because as human beings, we are going to act. Now, you could have a one day of acting contrary to your beliefs, or you could have a short season, but over time, you are going to fall back into the habits and the decisions and the actions of what you truly believe to be true. So action is such a huge part of this. Taking the stairs mindset means that you don't just recognize your inadequacies, you work to resolve them. Now, I'm not talking here about strengths and weaknesses as far as we all have different strengths and weaknesses, and everything in life is not going to be our strength. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm not saying, you're not a details person, so you need to become really good at doing details. Not what I'm saying. That's not. I'm talking about the things the choices that we make, the mindsets that we have that might keep us from doing the things that we really want to accomplish and do. I'm talking about the character issues that we need to improve and that we need to make better. So what does it mean to be in action? Being in action is doing the things that we don't want to do. It's doing what we don't feel like doing. It's setting aside the short-term discomfort for long-term results. It's moving, it's acting, it's creating motion, it's causing change. And when you do those things, you win. So the book talks about something called diminishing intent. We have all experienced this. Most of us experienced this on January the 2nd, right? We set all of our intentions and our resolutions and our goals for the year. And then on the second day, or maybe the third day, we're a little less passionate about getting out of bed, or a little less passionate about picking up the phone and calling our database. We're just a little bit less as on board as we were when we first made the intention or the commitment or the goal. And that is actually true. Motivation is always the strongest when you create the intention, and it will waver over time. Motivation is always the strongest when you create the intention, and then it wavers over time. So how do we fix that? You have to recommit every single day. You recommit, you remake an intention, you commit to that goal or to that action every single day. I think sometimes we think motivation is a pill that if we take it once, or, if we get motivated for a month and forever on, it becomes easy after that. And that's just not the reality of life. Right? We pay our rent. Success is like rent. We pay our rent every single day. If you have ever gone on a health journey, and sometimes we get a little cocky, and then all of a sudden we go, dang it, I'm back where I started. Why? Because we have to recommit to that journey every single day. Thank you, Kennedy. I totally botched that quote. Success is not owned, it is rented, and that rent is due every day. So I want to give you 3 things that can hold us back from getting into action. And the first thing is fear, right? Fear oftentimes holds us back from getting into action. What is the cure for fear? Action, right? That is actually what the very thing that we need to do to get over fear is to do something and to move. Maybe think about a time that you were going to do some type of, I don't know, adventurous thing. I don't know if you've ever jumped out of a plane, or maybe you have parachuted or parasailed or done those stupid zip lines. See, I hate all that stuff. And here's the truth. Is the fear of doing it as bad as actually doing it? Typically never, unless something actually goes wrong, right? Because the action actually removes the fear. The second thing that can hold us back from action is entitlement. And y'all, this one I think it's an epidemic. It's an entitlement epidemic in our culture, in our society. But I'm also going to say, I think it can become an epidemic with successful people. And why? Is because we think that because we've paid the dues before, we don't have to pay them anymore. And we say, yeah, I used to do that, but I shouldn't have to do that anymore because I've achieved X. Right? That's a tough thing. It's a tough thing when you're a successful agent and the market shifts. And all of a sudden you're having to go back and do the things that you did year 1 and year 2 in the business. And it's like, I shouldn't have to do this. I'm past this. It's an entitlement mentality. And what he says is entitlement is the end of achievement. Entitlement is the end of achievement. And so I would challenge all of us that we be careful that we don't get into an entitlement mentality in our businesses, that we're willing to do the things that brought us to the place that we are, that we don't get too good to do the things that in this season we have to do if we are truly committed to continual growth. He says that the entitlement is a disgusting disease that destroys your ability to reach your dreams, because the exact moment that entitlement engages is the same moment that self-discipline disengages. And then the third one is perfectionism. Why don't we get into action? Perfectionism. We wait for everything to be perfect. And we're self-criticizers, right? We beat ourselves up. It's not perfect. It's not exactly how I want it. I can't put this out there until it's absolutely everything that it could be. And it does destroy our action. And so sometimes it's better to do something imperfectly than to do nothing, because then it's not even perfect because it was nothing, right? Okay, so fear, entitlement, and perfectionism. Those are the 3 things that can hold us back from climbing the stairs every single day. I want to encourage you guys to be on tomorrow for Open Mic Friday, to go back through your notes from Huddle, or open up the book, or just Google something. You could Google, what is this chapter about, if you didn't take any notes, and then you can bring something to the conversation tomorrow morning. I love Open Mic Friday because that's when you guys get to share kind of what you've taken from the last week of conversations. And when we say it out loud, there's an accountability as well, to having that aha and then to putting it into action. So remember, you don't just show up for you, though, you show up for everybody else on this call. And when you share what you're thinking, what you're learning, and how you're getting into action, it's going to cause and inspire somebody else to do the same.